Testing.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to continue the lighting of our Shabbat candles. I'd like to call upon a member of our Board of Trustees, Lana Smith, to lead us in the lighting of our Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov, v'tzivanu l'hadlich ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Now that we've welcomed Shabbat, I invite you to welcome the person next to you. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom. Maybe introduce yourself to someone you don't know. Wish them a Shabbat Shalom.
I know you. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru Shir Chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth, a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. I will sing unto God a new song. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat, nekabla, lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat, nekabla, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat, nekabla, lecha dodi, likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat, nekabla, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, umevorach.
We continue with our call to worship. Baruch, I invite you, if you're able to please rise. We join together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, uvitvona meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakir kirtzono, bore yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, ומעביר יום מביא לילה, ומעביר בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים. Please be seated. We join together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we'll meditate on your laws and your commandments. We'll rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel, and all the world. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael v'ha'olam. Invite us to take a deep breath in, breathe out.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Aved. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבדיך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא, תהילות עושה מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Throughout our history as a people, we have dealt with the internal struggle of people not caring for us, people not getting us. And in Babylonia, which was a rich place for us, lots of creativity, we were not allowed to pray within the city. We had to go outside the city to pray. We were not allowed to build our synagogues within the city. And so a prayer, Chashkivenu, which Cantor will lead in a moment, was a prayer that was created during that time as a way to ease our people. Because at nighttime, they bought into demonology. And they were scared leaving the comforts of the city, going outside the wall of the city to their synagogue. And this prayer, Hashkivenu, was created to soothe them. And it stayed in our liturgy as part of the Shema and its blessings section since then. So it's been in our liturgy for a long time. And I always am reminded, though, when we do this prayer, that we have a long history of the pain that we're all experiencing right now. And we need to remind ourselves is that this too shall pass, and we will be okay, and that we'll be able to walk back into the city, into our homes with peace, love, and care between our family and our neighbors. Once again, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom, v'hamitenu shomreinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam, b'rit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash.
We continue now the central portion of our worship with our tefillah. I invite you, if you're able to please rise.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, ve'Konei Hakol, ve'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei v'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol atah Rav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim ve'rofei cholim, U'matir asurim, U'mekayem emunato lishenei afar, Bichamocha bal gevurot, U'mido melach, Melech memit u'mechaye, U'matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha selah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Please be seated. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, and our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha bi'irah na'avod. We join together. God, help us to make this new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities and the work you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atah hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha בכל עת ובכל שעה, בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, המברך את עמו ישראל ואת העולם בשלום. Holding on to that sense of shalom, of peace, we'll take just a few moments now of our own silent meditation for whatever prayers are still left in your hearts and on your minds this Shabbat evening. We'll pause for a few moments of silent reflection. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, dai, yadadai, dai. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. Olam chesed yibane, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. I will build this world from love, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. And you must build this world from love, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. And if we build this world from love, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai, then God will build this world from love, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. Ooh, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai. Ooh, yadadai, dai, dai, yadadai, dai.
We now focus our energies toward those who are ill, in need of healing. That may be a physical one, a mental one, or a spiritual one. On this Shabbat, we think of Seth Ammerman, Jana Agrovich, Salia Melendez, Chana Bat Miriam, Bobby Barco, Sharon Borowski, Bob Bell, Robert Berg, Ira Berkowitz, Dr. Arnold Berliner, Sandy Beinstock, Pauline Bronstein, Carol Brindell, Rich Burns, Ina Bruns, Melissa Champer, Chu Chi, Talia Sorowski, Bonnie Coleman, Deanna Courtwright, Rita Dempsey, David Dierig, Midori Dierig, Ellen Dover, Toby Ellman, Henry Hansen, Bunny Fisher, Jenna Fischoff-Hyman, Carolyn Franklin, Holly Fugit, Marilyn Fuller, Roberta Gabriel, Marcia Gieser, Ellie Gersley, Charlene Griffin, Jack Haff, Olivia Hand, Avram Harris, Linda Harris, Sharon Jackson, Jennifer Johnson, Rolando Johnson, Mimi Jones, Sylvia Karp, Ari Benjamin Karp, Evelyn Katz McCosker, Carol Lesage, Carol Lerner, Jackie Levinson, Bobby Lotman, Austin Lucero, Janice Lucero, Maureen McIntyre, Stephen Marceri, Rich McCarthy, Scott McCaslin, Nick Murphy, Barbara Wanamaker Neiman, Glenn Overstreet, Melanie Pearson, Barry Pinsley, Alice Pons, Sherry Prezant, Ted Prezant, Stephanie Rasmussen, Ramon Rivas, Linda Rogers, Julius Rodriguez, Jessica Rom, Eva Rose, Devone Ross, Lois Starr, Daryl Sanchez, Laura Sanders, Victoria Schneider, Judy Schwartz, Norma Slavitt, Laura Spalestra, Jonathan Stern, Dana Stitzkin, Carol Turnbull, Donna Thyman, Gina Thrower, Eleanor Williams, Sue Witten, Monica Wiley, Yaakov Ben Ada, Brandon Yarkin, Megan Young, Rich Zerberger, Tammy Ziegelhofer. If you wish to add another name to our healing list, I invite you to raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you. We wish upon those we mentioned and those remain unnamed, a refuah shlema, a speedy and complete recovery as we join together in praying for their better health with Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So, thought for tonight. We haven't really had an opportunity during the service. We've kind of allowed the vigil to be that place for us to talk. But I thought maybe on this Shabbos, it's been a month and a half now, since October 7th, that maybe we could take some time and talk through a little bit. If there was any issues that anyone had, something they wanted to bring up, something that's bothering you, but anyone who just wanted to share some thoughts, you could do that, or ask a question about what's going on if you think there's a lack of clarity or you don't quite understand something. There's an opportunity to ask that question. This should be a safe environment for us to ask anything and to say how we're feeling, okay? No judgment. Judy. That was quick, Judy. Usually the first one takes a while.
As an educator, I'm questioning the right to free speech and the rights of the children you're teaching, and is school board banter and statements about the war appropriate in that work environment? Because I understand and support the right to free speech, but in what setting is it appropriate? So I'm feeling conflicted and a little angry about what I'm reading in the news.
I appreciate that. I think that we would say that the front lines of all this is happening on the schools, be it colleges, universities, and I think as well as high school and middle school for our kids. So I really appreciate the kind of you bringing that up, Judy, and that's a lot to deal with because in my opinion, personally, I think teachers have no problem saying things if they have strong beliefs. Unfortunately, they're not thinking through that idea for the one Jewish child that may be in that room that has to hear this stuff. And Ken and I have been actually rather surprised by our B'nai Mitzvah class that meets with us Wednesdays to hear from them how much teachers say or don't say about stuff. For example, one of our students actually wanted to talk about Israel, and the teacher said, no, we're not going to do that here, which I think is interesting. So that made it clear to us that we have to talk about it in our class with this child, and we did. But I think that inherently why this issue I think is so challenging for us is that it's all emotive, it seems like, and there's very little fact involved with what people say. Because if there was fact involved, then I don't know, if you just know anything about history, if you know anything what Israel has done, then you know Israel has done more for the Palestinians than any of the Arab nations around them. And point being right now what's happening. I mean, Israel could have done what we would have, if it was our country in this situation, we would have just carpet bombed the area and not cared. And most countries would have just done that. Instead, Israel is sacrificing even more soldiers to be precision with what they're doing, to be exact, and to try not to kill civilians. And cases like when you have 1,000 people in that Shifra hospital that are held by gunpoint by a Hamas member, an IDF soldier saves those 1,000 Palestinians, no one talks about that, which happened last week. This is the kind of stuff that they're not, so if you're going to talk about it, then let's be factual about it. I think what's bothersome for me is anyone who professes against a group of people or a whole religion. That's what's so dangerous about this kind of rhetoric. And to me, that's very bothersome. You will not hear one rabbi, at least not in the Reform, Conservative, Reconstructionist movements, that will say anything negative about Palestinians, because that's not what we believe. And our movement, as you all know, believes in a two-state solution. Not only believes in it, but we know that's the only way to solve this issue, in part, getting rid of terrorism, giving the Palestinians self-actualization. And I think that what's so important is that we do take responsibility and we admit that the Netanyahu administration stirred up stuff, made this worse, as did a former president of the United States, make it worse for Israel, actually. But we need to understand that the heart of the people has been very clear. The two-state solution has been something that's been very passionate for a lot of Israelis. That's also the irony of the kibbutzim that were hit the most. Those are the most progressive kibbutzim. That's the Peace Now activist kibbutzim. Actually, one of the people that were taken as hostage is one of those peaceniks that live in that area. So I think I'm with you. I think if you're going to say something, talk about it from a factual place if you're an educator. If not, we shouldn't be talking about it. I also think it's important to validate all the children that are in the classroom, regardless if they're Muslim or Jewish. I'm really concerned about Muslims in America and how they're being treated. But I will tell you, they're not getting hammered on the college campuses like the Jewish kids are right now. Not even close. Jax, please.
I feel like I'm at a loss because I don't know where to turn to for facts. I feel like there is a lot of just, what's the word I'm thinking of? Political propaganda. There's a lot of propaganda, and I don't know what to believe. I've been trying to figure out Israel since I started this journey a couple years ago. And the more I dig into it, the more confused I get. And now I'm seeing my friends, or people who I thought were my friends.
That's right. That's the hard part.
What is happening? I don't know.
I hear you. You know what, Jax? I think you just expressed, no, don't be. Don't be sorry, because I think you just expressed what a lot of us are feeling. And I would say to you that information here is power. So I'm going to give you two answers. One is I am a full believer that Haaretz is the newspaper to get information from. The New York Times has not been as good as they should be. I wrote to one of the writers 5 weeks ago, who was the one he wrote the initial article that Israel hit this hospital, but it was Islamic Jihad that hit the hospital. So I wrote to him saying, you need to deal with this. The problem is, it's kind of like that, what happened after that hospital incident is that the world goes crazy, becomes even more anti-Semitic, and we see, then they retract, oh, sorry, that really didn't happen, and it's already too late. We've already been beaten up and ripped apart, and it's swept under the rug. So I think Haaretz, I would go there. I will be honest, I do not watch anything on television right now. I won't do it. Even PBS NewsHour I've taken a break from, although I've been told by Steve Mattis so I can watch it again. It's safe again. He told me on Tuesday, right, Ellen? So I may start that again. But I do Haaretz mostly, and what they do is they do a wonderful roundup of the day, so you can look at the highlights, look at articles about it. But what's good about Haaretz is that they call Israel on its stuff when it needs to be called. It's a balanced paper, and it's progressive in some areas, but you're going to hear conservative points of view. You're going to hear everything. I would go there, and I would watch everything and not deal with anything else. I had early on looked at other things like Al Jazeera and other things, because that's my nature, to look what everyone's saying and thinking. Now, I would stay away from social media. If you have someone of this age over here, they're experts on it. My son is part of that group and gets it, so he gives me a download because I know he needs to process it too. But I would not watch the images. I would not look at that stuff. It's horrible. It's really horrible. So that's one suggestion. The other one is, I'll be offering a class in December, 3 sessions on Israel. Take the class. Please take the class. It's very important that people understand the history of what took place and what's going, and why we're where we are at, right? There's so much misinformation, so much. One of the worst things out there right now is they'll show like 4 panels of Israel, and the first one, it will show it as all Palestinian, and the last one will be all Israel. And the idea is that it was all Palestinian at one point, and that's just never been the case. It's just not historically accurate. And that was put out by Russia, a couple decades ago, and it's still being used. So it is a lot of misinformation, and I want to be clear that anti-Israel, anti-Semitism is anti-Semitism. Anti-Israel, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. It just is. Because Israel, to say you're against a country is bizarre anyway. I can't think of a country I'm really against, to be truthful. I'm against regimes and governments. But a country, that's just bizarre. I mean, who talks like that? And I also think that in the end, we have to be able to have conversations with people, but we have to listen to. And I would listen to what people are saying. I think it's important. And when they're talking out of their tuchus, we need to call them on that. So I appreciate, Jax, you saying your truth here, because I think it is like that for us. It really is. And that's why we need each other. That's the third maybe component, is that we need as much opportunities to be together as a community. And I think that's super important right now for all of us as a Jewish community. And those that are Jewish adjacent, that feel a sense of connection to the Jewish community, feel like that they want to support us as well. This Sunday we'll have our interfaith, formally, interfaith Thanksgiving. I've lost that term. I'm not using that term. But it's our interfaith service on unity and gratitude. And we'll have a Muslim speaking, and we'll have some Christians, and the Cantor and I will hang out, and we'll do stuff. But it will be an opportunity to come together, and we need more of those as a community as well. We need to be enveloped by the faith community. So I think that's also super important. What else? Hi. Well, actually, why are you assuming that that's the truth, what you just said? Why are you assuming that's the truth, what you just said? Oh, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. Because it's on the news doesn't mean it's true. You need to understand the facts. And the facts are, let me finish. You did this to me online as well. You can't interrupt me if you ask a question, okay? It's ask the rabbi, it's not ask you, okay? If you want the facts, we'll talk about the facts. If you want to just read what anti-Semites are saying about Israel, that's what you're doing. Because that's basically everyone that's out there. The truth is that Hamas is preventing those things from getting to the people. This stuff is going in there, okay? There's evidence of this over and over and over. Hamas has been hurting these poor people for so long. And that's why we need to change the situation. But to think that Israel has this policy of wanting to hurt civilians, that's just not the case. Yes?
I think we need to watch our tones of voice. This is something we're all passionate about, one way or the other. My concern is that Israel, over the last few decades, has won so much credibility for so much of the good work it does, and that is now, I wouldn't say tarnished, but it's forgotten. And it's much more like the talk about Israel that I remember in the early 60s. You know, that they're a military, they're a military power, and they're, just into real estate and buffering their villages and cities. Is there anything that we can do? I mean, other than the usual things that, stay informed and everything, to back up Israel in a way that would be much more effective than just writing into CNN and saying, for God's sake, could we hear something else? Do you have any suggestions?
So I think it's about having conversations with people, right? Because there's lots of ignorance, right? The news says Israel's doing this, and people go with that. Okay. It's hard for me to deal with ignorance, personally. But I think we have to try to say, look, you may want to get some facts before you spew that information. And that's the problem. Even Jews that continue to spew misinformation, or having organizations like Jewish Voices for Peace that are really a group of self-hating Jews, and they don't represent Judaism at all. So they're the ones that the Muslims are using now, and everyone's using to speak, but it's not mainstream Judaism. I think, but the confusion's being created also. And that's part of the issue. If one really wants facts, they're there. You just got to be willing to find them. But if you have a chip on your shoulder already against Israel, you're just going to find what you need to find. And that's the problem right now. That's really what's going on, because people say, well, Israel does this. Are you kidding me? Do we not understand what happened in 1947 with the partition plan? And what's happened since then? That the Arab nation was invited to have half of that country. And Israel said, yes, let's do it. David Ben-Gurion said, yeah, we'll do it. We'll even take the not as good stuff in the north. But the Arab League said no, and then the riots started, and that's what's happened in decade after decade. And there is a group that doesn't believe that we should exist, and that's Hamas. They believe we should not exist. So this idea of equivalency that keeps coming up makes me mashugana, because I don't see how anyone can see this as equivalency, right? Name one Israeli soldier that did anything like Hamas did to our people on October 7th. We don't do that. And there was one soldier actually that was caught kind of killing a Hamas guy or doing something, and he was called out on that, and he got in big trouble because we don't do that. But the fact is, why we're not talking about hostages, that's what you all should be upset about. Why are we talking about hostages? Poor Israel, come on. This is so unacceptable. Since October 7th, we've had hostages. And the world doesn't say anything. When does the UN say anything about that? Or anyone that condemns Israel? They're quick to condemn Israel, but when have they ever said anything about the hostages? Zero. It's disgusting. Deb, come up here.
How do you counter the call, let's have Hamas release the hostages, when Israel releases, 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. How do you counter that one?
We're not going to do that. We're just not going to do that. I don't think that's where Israel's at anymore. Because number one, we don't even know the condition of all the hostages. We found 2 of them yesterday that were dead. One out of the 200 that were found in the basement of the hospital, another one that was nearby, a young woman soldier. Okay, the woman that was found, one of the hostages was, I believe, a 67-year-old woman. So I don't think we know the situation. I also think there's a lot of intelligence we're not aware of. And my sense is that on October, kind of after the 7th, that first week, when Israel actually went in and went out of Gaza quite a bit, and I think from what I've heard internally, that was done with actually some other countries' special forces, like America. So there's been a lot of that. And I think they've been really trying to find the hostages and to locate where they are, while also trying to get the people out of there that are civilians. And that's why Israel has had 2 corridors. They have a 10-hour corridor in one of the areas, and I think it's up to 6-hour corridor in another area to help the Gazans get out as well. Go ahead.
There was something on the news tonight, and I alternate between having a news fast and then actually watching something, because I'm so tired of anti-Semitic tropes across every single news thing.
That's correct.
But today, they were showing tunnels that were 200 feet deep into the ground. So don't complain about the international community, because where's all the money going that should be going for food and medicine?
And there's
it's
your
going-
evidence for what Hamas does and what PLO, the PA did forever, which is they take the money everyone gives them, instead of giving it to the people and feeding them and giving them water, they use it for their military structure. It's no doubt going to end up being the largest tunnel system in the world that's ever been found. It's unbelievable. It really is. I mean, they even created bombs for this thing. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The fuel, it is a very good example of that. We had the oil tanks that were filled up, and Hamas wouldn't let any of the Gazans use it. Mm-hmm. Say it again? That's not what's happening. Again, you're talking rhetoric. Okay, well, you can see what you want to see. What Israel is doing is that it's hitting Hamas, and since Hamas is hiding in hospitals, and their headquarters are in every hospital in the area and in every school, they leave Israel no choice. So what does Israel do? It goes into that area and tries to clear it out. It warns everyone to get out. Well, the first round, after the first round of bombing, they waited about 5 days, 4 or 5 days. That was one of them. And the news corridor is every day, one of them is 10 hours, that they don't do anything for 10 hours in that one area, and then another one is 5 hours or 6 hours. I think they just changed it to 6. Correct. That's been documented, actually. Thank you. What she just said, which is correct, it's been documented, a lot of videos of Israelis trying to help the Palestinians out and to help save them. In fact, it's starting to come out finally. Palestinians that are outside of Gaza, that are in the world, are starting to talk about how bad Hamas was for them. So, yeah, well, the fact that Egypt has, let's be very clear, how often have you ever, and this is some of the, I think we have to find some silver lining here, how could you ever imagine that Saudi Arabia would shoot down a missile headed to Israel from Yemen? And it's happened numerous times now. So we need to understand that the Arab world has a position here too that we can see. There's also a Sunni Shiite issue going on here too, between you have Hezbollah in the north as well as Hamas Islamic Jihad, right? They're not on the same page religiously from a Muslim perspective either. And let's be very clear, they do not represent Muslims, Hamas, any of these terrorists, please. They do not. They are not Palestinians at all. They don't care about the Palestinians. Because if they did, they wouldn't be doing this. You don't go in there and murder people, because they did that with intention, knowing that Israel was going to do what it's doing right now. They knew exactly what they were doing. That's all intentional. So it's like a puppet of Iran playing this game. And look at me, people are falling for it in this country and in the world. They're all falling for it. They're falling for it. And again, we're put in this situation of having to do the right thing. Thank God I think Israel's doing the right thing across the board here. Because Israel could have just carpet bombed the whole area and blown it up. But that's not what we do. You know, we're trying to save as many civilians as possible. Because, you know, I just wish we were given a little bit of that on October 7th. A little moment of a warning. No. My prediction is Bibi will lose the prime ministership, thankfully, when this is all done. Israel will wait till it's all done. It will go through an evaluative process, and then he'll lose his job because it's his fault. That's what they'll say. Because the prime minister's, the buck has to stop somewhere, thank you, Mr. Truman. So I think we saw this in the past. In the Lebanon war, the prime minister at the time lost his job quickly after that because that was viewed as a terrible, terrible debacle from Israel. And this will be the same situation here, too. Absolutely, absolutely. And I also think Israelis are very clear on understanding, truth be told, what Netanyahu has done. I think they get that, right? And understand that he's in this because he's worried about his own personal, lawsuits and such. We need to hear you.
Where will, once the Gazans evacuate through these corridors, if Egypt's not taking them, if other countries aren't taking them, where are they going?
That's going to be the problem. They're right now going to be in an area that Israel's not hitting, but that's not going to last because Israel's going to hit that area too. So this is my big concern too. Personally, I think what I would do is say, you know what, let's get them out of Gaza completely. Let's get the Palestinians out. Every Arab nation, every nation needs to take 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever we could do. Let's get them out. Let's deal with Hamas. Let's deal with the tunnels. Then we have to rebuild Gaza as part of the Palestinian state. And that's kind of the order of business here, I think. I mean, you're right, though. That is a huge concern. It's a huge concern. So right now, I think we're seeing the potential of them being put in camps and such like that, which we don't want at all. So I think that's a possibility right now until this is dealt with. Israel has to get rid of Hamas, though. They don't have a choice. They've been left no choice. And honestly, you would expect the same thing from your government, too. So everyone expects that from their government. No one wants to be put into the situation.
We spent over 20 years trying to get rid of terrorism in the Middle East.
Yes. And you could see how well that went.
Yeah, when you get to that sort of asymmetrical, I mean, that seems to be the nutshell, just a sort of asymmetrical. I mean, the bits and pieces, I've also been alternating between fasting and trying to find stuff, and then also trying to find stuff that I don't want to read, and then trying to see if I can verify it. And so two pieces that jump out as far as misinformation on both sides. And I don't know how fact-checked this is. The first one, I know where I saw it, and maybe you might know. So the first one is actually about Netanyahu, so not necessarily anti-Israel, but that on John Oliver last Sunday, which I thought he did a pretty good job of breaking it down fair. I mean, anyone who does a good job of saying, pieces on both where I can see a cohesive story. But the one thing that he said about Netanyahu that I just felt like that just sounds like the worst of what I worried about in my most paranoid during 2001 about the Bush administration was that Netanyahu was sort of supporting or allowing or sending suitcases of money to Hamas because they were seen as a what?
It wasn't from him. Yeah, it's an important. Thank you. Well done.
I wanted to bring it up. I figured
No, that's
if
great.
anyone-
That's
no,
great.
that one I figured you
That's
might
how
be
we
able to
do this. That's
tackle.
right. Well done,
On the other
Caitlin.
side, the other piece, and I can't remember where I read it, so, but as far as the whole, hospital and the thing, I remember seeing a clip somewhere in my browsing about, on Al Jazeera video, they were interviewing a patient in the hospital that was bombed, and the guy started cursing and saying, you know, it's all their fault, you know, why are they even hiding here? That's why we're getting, you know, and they cut the video.
Yep.
I don't have verification of
No,
that,
that's
so I
true.
don't
Al
wanna,
Al
you know-
Jazeera also did another one, and they had to cut it too because it showed in the hospital all the weapons. And they showed it. That was awesome. So yeah, they didn't mean to do that either.
But then I heard also that Israel is releasing one saying, oh, we have documents, you know, see this wall, and it was a calendar. So, I mean, and again, I don't know if that one's verified, but yeah, it gets a bit crazy after a while where it's just, you know, I mean, even listening to what you said, you know, a second ago, I can't imagine, even before October, you know, any part of the Arab world being, oh, okay, yeah, once you moved us, get everyone out, we'll just take the people while you rebuild, and then we'll...
Yeah, would that be nice? It would be lovely, though.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't even say Arab, you know, I can't imagine any two groups warring being like, oh, okay, that's the plan, good.
But if you
know?
cared about those people, but if you cared about those people, you would do it. Which is interesting because Israel has
Not
taken...
arguing that there's actual intent or people who believe in it or that it's even a possibility in theory.
It's because they don't have a policy in those countries that deal with refugees, like Israel does. That's why unfortunately, some Thai workers were killed also by Hamas. They were brought in by Israel. Cambodians. Every generation, every few years, there's another group that's going through problems. Israel says, come on in. You come hang here.
Oh, I was always
Which is
proud of
kind
that,
of
whether
beautiful,
with
yeah.
Ethiopia or,
Oh,
or
yeah,
even
absolutely.
I heard about the documentaries about the weird sort of hybrid of I don't know if this is still the correct term for them, but the lady boys of Thailand who became caretakers for senior citizens, and there was some kind of biopic.
Yep.
Yeah, you know
It's
what I'm-
very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just hearing things like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's why it's not even about a Jewish place. It's about, you know, I mean...
Well, I think that's important too. I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
there are
as
nearly
a
2
Westerner, as an
million
American,
Muslims living in Israel.
Hmm?
There are 2 million plus, nearly 2 million Muslims living in Israel.
That's another thing that Barry said, show me the Arab state or the Muslim state.
That has Jews in it.
Town.
Yeah, we're all thrown out of every Arab state. This is the one Jewish state. We welcome Arab, Muslims, Christians, everyone.
No,
And we're little. We're a little country.
I had to thought
pretty
in some
amazing.
ways, I mean, as far as our successfulness that you were, one of you was saying was tarnished. I was thinking in a strange way, we're kind of like successful Haiti in the sense that like, you know, we're in slavery, but you know, persecuted people that was sort of like, okay, well, you know, give them this piece of crap and, you know, that'll teach them to be upstarts. And we had startups instead, you know.
Yeah, right, exactly,
So,
exactly.
you know, but
Thanks, Oren.
anyway,
Appreciate it.
that's my random thoughts.
I appreciate it. No. I think that's fabulous. Fabulous. I think, yeah. Yeah, right. I think it's important just to kind of share how we're feeling about that. And I appreciate your comments, actually, Oren. You should. My cousin's name is Oren also, by the way. You're the only other Oren I know besides my cousin Oren, so it's kind of cool. Who was born actually in this area and lived in San Jose and Mount Hamilton Road for many years, my cousin. Yeah. Well, you're not seeing the things I'm seeing. There's an organization called Shoresh, for example. There's a lot of organizations in Israel that have done tremendous things. And your perspective, and even as I talk, you start giving me that negative look, like you did online. Well, then we can talk. Yes. What do you want to say? Here, let me give you the mic.
This is just what I've been struggling so much with, and it's in this room. The misinformation, it's right here in this room with us, and I'm struggling.
What
so hard.
misinformation are you referring to?
Just the misinformation of how we got where we are and the truth about the land of Israel and how it got there, what Israelis have done for the world and what they believe and hold dear and true as a people. And just the misinformation in the media is just so rampant and so blatant. Even KQED is like, oh, but we can't verify that because it came from the IDF. But, nobody is saying we can't verify the information Hamas gave us. It's
That's right.
out there.
You're absolutely right, and I so appreciate that, Tristan, that I think that's exactly my frustration as well. And to even hear people in my own sanctuary talking the same thing is very upsetting to me, to be honest with you. Because the misinformation, like you just said, you said it really well, Tristan, in the sense that was one thing I called the New York Times on, which was, Hamas says it and then they publish it as truth. IDF says it and they needed to have it, verified by 14,000 different groups for it to be legitimized. And that's part of the inherent anti-Semitism that we have here. Anyone who understands what's gone on since 1947 knows what Israel's done for the Palestinians and for the Arab people. If you go to Jerusalem, you would know that Israel could have kept control of the top of where the mosques are on top of the Western Wall. They give that to the Muslims to control. There is a tomb of David in Jerusalem. Muslims control that completely. Jews do not. Israel given them that. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the keys belong to a Muslim, and then there's 13 different Christian denominations in there. Why? Because Israel has respect for other people, but Israel doesn't get it back. And then we're questioned, like you just said, with our integrity. Meanwhile, I want people to return what Israel has contributed to the world if they're anti-Semitic. They have to return it, their hearts, their whatever it is, their computers, all that stuff. Because Israel has given so much to the world. And when someone says, Israel hasn't done anything for the Palestinians, then they are completely blind to what's been going on and are not leaning in on any level for what Israel's doing. Because if you look it up, if you see it for yourself, it's very clear. And we're not talking about a single thing here. We're talking about major programs that have been in place, like in Haifa since the 50s, getting Muslim and Jewish children together. I can go on and on with the programs. I've lived in Israel, and unless you've lived there, be careful what you say, because you haven't lived there. Okay, and I can tell you, living there, I went into East Jerusalem all the time in 88, 89. Palestinians were part of the college experience for me, and there's a program now at our college campus in Jerusalem where Cantor and I spent our first year, where Muslims are studying at our college campuses. Muslims. They have a special program just for Muslims. And it goes on and on like that. And I want to also say there are many Palestinians that believe in this relationship and have worked very hard on making a good relationship with Israelis as well. And that's why you've seen great things like SodaStream and other wonderful companies that have been combined with Israelis and Palestinians working together. And I personally believe that we will see a two-state solution. And actually, I think it's going to be sooner than what people thought now. Absolutely. Israel needs that. Oh my God, yes. And the Palestinians need that because Hamas has been, the Palestinians have been double terrorized, in my opinion. They've had it so bad. And the one thing that is very true, though, and that is no one should live like Palestinians live in the West Bank or Gaza. No way. And I think that's the truth here. And I think we need to respect that issue and say, okay, we got to deal with that. That's not okay. Oren, last comment. We'll go on.
Just on how Palestinians live into what you were saying, I'm not a scholar, I don't know all the answers, but my one visit to Israel as an adult was 15 years ago, right before the election. And I went with the partner I had before my wife, Israeli, her brother was studying at University, and doing Arabic language
But I think your point is an important point, though, and that is, yeah. Absolutely. I think absolutely. Yeah, we're projecting onto the situation our own life experience and how we live, and that's just absolutely would be the wrong thing to do. I think that's a very good point you're making. Tristan? And then, oh, Tristan, that's a pet peeve. That's actually, we've been talking about that internally, my colleagues and I, that, what are we going to do? We're going to go and rebuild Gaza so that the Hamas goes in there and craps on it again. Her point that she made is when we left Gaza, we left them with intact, beautiful structures. I mean, beautiful. Hospitals, beautiful structures in Gaza. And Hamas came in there and destroyed everything intentionally. So this is a long history of abuse that Hamas has done in Gaza. Absolutely. Last question or comment? Yes, young man.
If Israel is able to actually get rid of Hamas, in time, do walls come down?
Say it again?
In time, do the walls come down?